This is a true story you should know. Because if you don't know your rights as a parent, it could happen to you. This boy comes from a happy, hardworking family right here in Mesa. We'll call him Tommy. Tommy likes to hide, and he's good at it. He has several favorite spots at home, down the street, even at a friend's house. Last year, Tommy outdid himself. When his mother, Janna, noticed he had left the room and taken his blanket and pillow, she searched the property.
Tommy, come on, buddy.
No Tommy. So she called her husband, Brian, who was working late.
Tommy's hiding.
Janna and Brian knew their son. They correctly assumed that this episode would turn out like all the rest. After a fruitless search, he would eventually turn up. And they were right. Tommy was found right here, hiding in the neighbor's oleanders. But that was in the morning. When Brian came home, they all searched some more. Finally, they turned on all the floodlights, unlocked all the entrances, and Brian laid down next to the open front door. Tommy. All the while, Tommy was right next door, warm and within earshot. At dawn, Tommy was still hiding. The Mesa police joined the search. Finally, a neighbor spotted the boy.
Brian, he's over here.
Brian retrieved him. Come on, buddy. Tommy was warm, had food, and was in good condition. Brian thanked everyone for their efforts and took his son inside. A happy ending, right? It should have been. Moments later, without a warrant, an armed police officer burst into the Bentley home. Soon, the house was flooded with other officers and DCS workers. Tommy became agitated and very emotional. Janna asked the police to please wait until she had time to calm Tommy. That's when the Bentleys were told they had no choice in the matter. A police officer falsely claimed to have a temporary custody notice and said Tommy was now a ward of the state. Tommy was examined by the paramedics, who said he showed no signs of abuse. This story should have ended there, but then they were told Tommy would be taken to the hospital. When Brian tried to rejoin Tommy in the other room, an officer physically restrained him. The doctor at the hospital came to the same conclusion as the paramedics. He showed no signs of abuse. Time to go home, right? Not yet. The officer said now Tommy would have to be taken to a Mesa police substation to be forensically interviewed. And what did Janna find at the substation? 2 of Tommy's siblings. It turned out, before Tommy had even been found, a Mesa police officer had gone to their school, fabricated a reason for taking custody of the children, and made the school staff sign a document that bound them not to inform the parents. Tommy was examined for the 3rd time with the same result. Finally, he was allowed to go home. Now, if you're thinking, at last, the nightmare's over, hold that thought. After all they suffered, Brian and Janna Bentley have been charged with child neglect. And even more outrageous, the only plea deal they were offered was for 30 days in jail, each, with 2 years probation. Why were the Bentleys' rights so horribly violated? Overzealous officers? Religious intolerance? The official statements of the officers show a considerable lack of religious sensitivity. Whatever the reason, this story is a clear example of a gross abuse of power, which had a devastating effect on the family. What can you do? Share this video. Call the Mesa prosecutor's office and demand change. Tell them the Bentleys have been treated unfairly. Tell them you want prosecutors who can recognize such an obvious abuse of power. Do it for the Bentleys, and do it for your family too. Because next time, it could be your family.